Former Democratic Senator Bob Graham says he agrees with former Vice President Dick Cheney that reports detailing the effectiveness of U.S. national security policy should be made available to the public. His comments were made at the Heritage Foundation with former GOP Senator Jim Talent, where they announced the findings of their Commission on the Prevention of Weapons of Mass Destruction, Proliferation, and Terrorism. Back in May, Cheney called on the CIA to release documents outlining interrogation techniques used during the Bush administration, claiming they would show the techniques were effective. Graham agrees with Cheney that these documents should be made public. Senator Graham, after 9/11, you warned the country that another terrorist attack was, quote, probable, partially because there were at the time as many as 100 al-Qaeda sleepers in the United States. Why do you think President Bush was able to succeed in stopping attacks? Was it the warrantless wiretapping program or another area of his national security policy?
Well, I think it's going to take a little more passage of history to time to look back and see what were the factors that contributed to that. As I said, we've been running a 10-second 100-yard dash. We have done a lot of things in the United States for which I think the Bush administration can appropriately take credit, and I think many of those are being continued by the Obama administration. I think we did have the reality that the main thing Al-Qaeda wants to do is to kill Americans, and we provided them with a shooting gallery in Iraq to carry out their mission. And so we were fulfilling their desires in a more vulnerable location than launching another major attack against the United States. I personally agree with one thing that Vice President Cheney has said, is that some of these reports which might give us a better idea as to whether these various strategies that were used were efficacious, should be made available to the public so it can be part of the overall consideration of what were the factors that have avoided a follow-up terrorist attack after 9/11.
Graham also says President Obama's outreach to the Muslim world has made America safer. Do you think any of the changes that President Obama has made to President Bush's national security policies have made America less safe or more safe?
Well, I think the decision to put more emphasis on Pakistan, and particularly the non-military aspects of Pakistan, is very important. That is the country which is the epicenter of all the things that could lead to terrorists gaining access to a weapon of mass destruction. I think also that President Obama's outreach to the Muslim world, his speech in Turkey and more recently in Egypt, have been very well received and are creating an environment in which we will have more ability to positively influence those societies. And so I'm encouraged with the first 6 months of the Obama administration in terms of its outreach to the world and our security as a result of that.
Since we haven't had any attacks since September 11th, 2001, are there any recommendations that you might have for the president to on policies to continue?
Well, I don't allow the fact that we haven't been attacked to become a sedative that we're invulnerable. That's not the case. In fact, our commission found that we are more vulnerable to an attack today than we were prior to 9/11. I would say to the president, put somebody of importance in charge of this program, give them some marching orders, particularly to take the steps that we need to do to give greater security to the threat of biological attacks, and to continue to build our positive relations with the other countries which have in the past been the principal source of radical terrorism.
Any recommendations for the charge? Who should be in charge of the program?
Yes, Senator Talent and I have both recommended through a letter to the President that Vice President Biden should be that person. We think the office of the Vice Presidency is at the level that is required in order to command the attention to the seriousness of weapons of mass destruction and their proliferation. And we think that Vice President Biden personally has had so much experience in this area that he is uniquely well prepared to provide that kind of focal point for U.S. policy on weapons of mass destruction.
Nicholas Ballasy, CNSnews.com, Washington.